Hello, trading has closed on April 23rd, 2024. Let's do our disclaimer as we always do. We'll go over our calls and then we'll make some predictions. This is my trading plan for Wednesday, which is April 24th, 2024. Please remember my calls can be completely wrong. Any trade you make should be made at your own risk. If you're not familiar with my MEJT system, please pause the video and read about it. All the rules are available here. Today's pattern was a pattern with the early low, which is this, and tomorrow it should have the early high. We said we had reversed right from resistance. I said either we gap and take this resistance out early, or else we should see lower prices. Well, we gapped and took the resistance out early, and that's what we had to do if you're a bull. Here's what we said. We said bulls need to add to the gains early tomorrow, or the decline's intact, and that's what happened. During the day, we got an ultimate buy signal that worked. MEJT says this is a false move. It won't stick. We're going to trade at 50.62.74, most likely before tomorrow's close. And if we don't gap up smartly, that's my call. Well, this isn't exactly a wall with gap pattern because that isn't a wall, but it's the same principle. Strong advances need a base, a good base, and when you have a V bottom with a gap like that, it's an unstable pattern. Typically, it'll fill very quickly, either by tomorrow or at the latest Thursday's open. We should fill this gap and undercut this low. But that's what typically happens. If it doesn't happen by then, even though it should happen at some point, it doesn't have to happen anytime soon. There are a number of things that make me leery about this advance. One is we gapped up, hit higher highs, closed under all these highs. So we had possible trending at the top. It's also possible to count this as an ending diagonal triangle. I'm not claiming this is the only count. It's not the clearest count in the world, but if that's A and that's B and that's an ABC and C is equal to A, C is 1.618 times A with a possible ending diagonal triangle. The fibs are there if we start down. And if we don't start down, if we gap up at the open, the whole idea is killed. And that is something we should know before we open tomorrow. So if we gap up here, which is possible, it was a rally day. I mean, this could be completely wrong. But if this is the right count, and if it is the right count, it implies we're going to drop right from the open, probably undo all of today's gains relatively quickly. And I think we'll find out soon enough if it's the right count, because if we don't start dropping right from the open, probably something else is going on. Well, tomorrow's pattern has the early high regardless of how we open. Typically, it's a rally day with a high and a final hour, and if you fail, you drop in a straight line. There's a lower MEJT target. Unless we gap up smartly, the rules call for it to print. Now, we gapped up, we hit a higher high, but then closed under multiple intraday highs, meaning the last few hours churned at the top. And if that's maintained at the open, it's a bearish pattern, should lead to lower prices regardless of how we close. That's dependent upon that holding. The wave count's compatible with the rally ending and compatible with an ending diagonal triangle. And if that's the right count, we likely will drop right from the open. And if the rally's to continue, bulls need to gap and promptly overtake Tuesday's high. If they can, then just forget this idea. Don't have to risk money. But if they can't, I think we're going to trade lower tomorrow. So it's a pattern with the early high. It's usually bullish, If it fails big and we drop in a straight line. And as long as that's a valid count, and I'll grant you it might not be the only count, as long as that's a valid count, it's completely conceivable we undo all of today's rally, undercut this low, maybe even keep on dropping from there, although there should be support under this low. So I'm not risking any of my own money till we see how we open. And if we open up here, I can just get my eraser out. But if we start down, I've got much lower targets. And this might not be the only interpretation, but I think it's a valid one. And if it's not valid, we'll find out soon enough. So, it's the pattern with the really high. Look out for a straight line drop if this holds. And that's today's call.